welcome back to another episode. This week we're going to have a break from the fabrication work and look at some of the parts that I've got. This week we'll look at the supercharge and the bracketry that goes along with it and give you a bit of a rundown. Like mentioned in the first video, it's a Paxton W1500 HD. HD stands for heavy duty bearings. I custom ordered this from Vortec nearly 10 years ago. It's just been sitting around waiting for the day to build a big combo. It's finally happening, which is good. The reason why I chose the Paxton over the Vortec, the comparison between the Paxton and the Vortec version 1 T-trim, it's very similar. It's just a step-up ratio of the Paxton is slightly higher with a 3.61 to 1 step-up ratio, where the T-trim version 1 is a 3.45. They have released the version 2, which is basically exactly the same as my Paxton with the step-up ratio, CFM it can flow, boost it can produce, and internal RPMs. So it can produce 26 psi of boost. The internal RPMs can go up to 55,000 RPM. They are helical cut gears, and it can produce 1400 CFM. And peak efficiency is 75%. So it should be perfect for what I want, and it should definitely produce 1,000 horsepower or very close to. The reason why I chose Paxton over Vortec or ProCharger. ProCharger was just sort of starting to come into Australia back then, and I didn't really know sort of exactly how good they were. Turned out to be pretty good. I'm still happy with the choice that I made. And Vortec were everywhere back then, so I wanted something slightly different. So I'm glad I chose Paxton. Paxton have Ford heritage. Carroll Shelby ran them on some of the Mustangs back in the 60s, so I do like that Ford heritage. And I do like the unit itself. It's a polished unit, it looks nice, and it should stand out pretty good in the engine bay. Also have a DynoTune MP custom strut brace. It's CNC machine, which goes from the blower snout to the crank snout. And that should eliminate any flex from the bracketry to the block itself under high RPM or torque. So yeah, I'll give you a bit of a rundown on that too, which it's pretty cool. Okay guys, here we are. Here's a bracketry I was talking about earlier. It's 1/2 inch alloy. The holes or the recesses in the plate itself are CNC'd. There's the front plate, and here is the back plate, which will get mounted to the blower obviously on the back, and this will get mounted to the front. This recess here, long recess here, is for your belt tensioner. So that'll sit on there like that, and you'll tension the belt up accordingly. As I did say earlier, I'd like to somehow machine into this front cover or front plate a spring-loaded tensioner, just to get better coverage and better belt tension, as opposed to just tightening up and hoping for the best. So the variable spring tensioner will be a lot better to try and keep belt slippage to a minimal. Here's a piece of CNC billet alloy that will sit on the cast bracketry. As you can see, we'll CNC it out, and that'll sit on top of this cast Vortec bracket itself. This bracket looks, pretty crappy compared to the rest of the stuff that's going on the engine, so I'll have to do something about that, whether I get it ceramic coated or give it a bit of a polish or something like that, just to make it look a little bit neater. Here's all the all the bolts and spacers and all that kind of stuff. They need to put it all together, all inside there. Here's the 8 PK belt, it's a Vortec belt. This is the one I'm going to upgrade to a 10 PK belt to go with the pulley system that I'm going to upgrade as well, to hopefully, minimise belt slippage. That's the belt tensioner that we spoke about, and here is just an idler pulley. Okay, and this is the DynoTune MP billet brace. I got this from a place over in America, from DynoTune MP. It's a killer looking bit of kit. It's machined out of billet alloy, CNC'd. It runs heavy duty bearings that are C-clipped in. I'm not even sure if this place is actually around anymore. When I got it, I was very impressed with it, and it got wicked reviews, and there was a lot of guys writing up saying, they run big horsepower, and this thing definitely minimised flex from the engine to the blower itself. So yeah, it looks sick. I can't see what it looks like on the engine. This piece here, this will sit on front of the pulley, front of the crank pulley, and this mounts to the lower part of the bracket itself. So this will spin obviously with the crank, and the bearing will spin as well, and the brace is just going to hold everything together. This is the extreme velocity standard profile or high profile blow through setup for the carby I'm going to be running. I chose the standard size instead of the short version or the low profile version, just due to everything going to be sticking out the bonnet anyway, basically. So with a Super Victor 9.5 Windsor manifold plus the HVH 2-inch CNC spacer. And this, it's going to be sticking high as well. So, you know, no point hiding it. I just have to get a reverse cowl or something like that to try and keep it under the bonnet to a degree, to try and, yeah, keep it a little bit hidden. But yeah, that's sick. It's going to look nice when it's all on. Here's the HVH 2-inch spacer. It's all CNC'd on the inside there. That should be good, and that should apparently they're good for 10 horsepower. Not that I'm too worried about getting any extra horsepower at the moment. But yeah, it's just good to get the maximum plenin volume. This space is definitely going to increase the plenin volume on the manifold itself. And here it is, the Paxton Novi 1500 HD, polished. I went for the polished version because I wanted the blower and the blower bracketry and the setup for itself to stand out, because the engine and everything else I'm going to try and black out, so everything else is black, and this will sort of pop by being, you know, the only thing that's sort of polished or alley in the engine bay. It's a 3.5 inch inlet on the impeller, and it's a 2.4 inch outlet, which will feed the extreme velocity blow-through setup. If we flip it over, there's your oil in, there's your oil back to sump. I'll have to get that all set up when I get my sump. Here's the 8 pk belt. We will change that out for a 10 pk, like I spoke about earlier, just to try and minimise the amount of belt slippage that these are sort of known for. But yeah, there you have it. It's a nice looking bit of kit. About 3.6 1-to-1 step up ratio. It should spin up pretty quick. And yeah, it should make some good power. So I'm looking forward to putting it all together and bolting to the engine and see what it actually looks like. Can't wait. There you have it, guys, another episode done. On this one, it was a bit of a quick one. Give you a bit of a breakdown on the blower setup and the bracketry and why I chose it and what it's sort of good for. I think the parts that I chose are all high quality. I think they're good. I'm still glad I chose them all those years ago. I'm looking forward to seeing what they actually look like on an engine. So I'm looking forward to building the engine this year. Hopefully have that done about August. Next week we'll be back onto the car again. I'd like to put it on the ground, take it out the front, and then grind down some of the welds I did in the boot, where I filled in a couple of holes that were there previously. So once I grind the holes back, I can get the 2-pack paint and then prime the boot. Once the boot's primed, I can put the insulation down. Once the insulation is down, I can put the fuel tank back in again. Once the fuel tank's in, I can do the fuel lines. So it's a whole process. So yeah, it'd be good to get back onto the car again, get another couple of jobs ticked off. Until next time, thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and yeah, see ya.